Something happened to me over a decade and a half ago that changed how I think about photography. I had my digital camera and a new medium format film camera, and I stumbled upon a composition I was just really excited about. And one of the cool things is that I took the shot with both cameras. And when I got home, I was surprised that I preferred the digital shot. Film is supposed to be way better and superior, right? Well, then why did I prefer the digital shot? I realized that film doesn't make an image special. The photographer's creative approach, their vision, their eye, that's what makes a shot special. Or maybe it does. Let's rescan this negative in a minute and recompare 16 years later. So welcome, my name's Jesse. I'm a filmmaker and photographer. My last video just went over 80,000 views, so I am continually blown away that people look at my channel, watch my stuff, and care about what I have to say. So thank you. I won't let you down. I promise I won't let you down. I may let you down later, but I won't let you down like soonish. I have no current plans to let you down. If you know anything about me or the videos on this channel, you know that I like to create stuff. Mostly I like to make images with things like this, and like this. Or this. But where it all started was here, with film. I grew up on the tail end of film. I spent my teens shooting film on an old SLR. And then in high school, I had my first exposure to digital cameras. We had a Sony Mavica, this old digital camera that recorded on floppy disks. I've made a video about it. It's pretty hilarious. I remember waiting so long for each image to write to the disk. And then in college, I was an early adopter for once in my life. I bought a Sony f717 digital camera. I was in design school. I had to take a lot of product and packaging shots, and just being able to set white balance in camera made product shots so simple. And even though I was fully embracing film, I still had a full darkroom in my basement. I still loved film and I still shot it. I just loved the process. I still love the process. But is film better than digital? Back in 2008, I was working at an ad agency and I had to go to the summer party. And despite the cliches about advertising, I was not a big partier. I was sort of like a poorly adjusted, introverted homeschooler kid. I went to the summer party and I took my two favorite things, my blankies, my binkies, my two new cameras, a Canon Rebel 400D XTI and a new to me Yashica medium format TLR. And while I was at the party, I stumbled across one of my favorite compositions, this dude sunbathing, I don't know, sleeping or drunk or both. And I just thought it was a hilarious picture. And I was so excited that I had my film camera with me. But I thought, I've got my digital camera. Let's frame up with the digital camera before we spend any film on this frame. Back then, I would get my negatives back and a low-res scan on a disc, like a CD-ROM. It was a very long time ago. I remember looking at the film scan and being disappointed. It was super warm. Maybe it was because it was low res, but I just remember not being happy with it. When I look back at it today, that warmth has this sort of funny Kenny Rogers Roasters Kramer vibe to it, which I think is kind of funny. But at the time, the image that spoke to me was the digital shot. Maybe the framing was a bit funnier. It's what made it into my printed portfolio, and it's what is on my site to this day. What I figured out in this moment was super important for me. It was a realization that what didn't matter was the camera or the medium or the brand. What really matters is the photographer's approach, eye, the creative intent. I feel like I kind of leveled up that day. I feel like I kind of leapfrogged all those people arguing about film versus digital, Canon versus Nikon versus Sony. It's like my head sort of popped above the clouds, and all those people arguing and gatekeeping, their voices got a lot quieter. It was motivating for me to just keep working and keep building my portfolio. I wasn't just listening to untested, unsolicited advice. I was actually messing around and finding out. And I discovered that film and digital are not mutually exclusive. It doesn't have to be a binary choice. My worst nightmare is being one of those old dudes that argues about whether Chev or Ford is better. The last thing I want to be is loyal to a corporation. That sounds very un-artist to me. Picasso, sponsored by Squarespace. Picasso, I only use Winsor Newton paints. I don't know. The first thing I do when I get a camera is I tape over the brand name. I don't even use a strap because firstly, I feel like the strap catches on things and I've dropped cameras with straps more than without them. But also there's a big stupid logo embroidered all the way down the strap. I don't want people's introduction to me reading Canon or Sony or whatever. For this sunbather shot, you could argue that the humor came through clearer on the digital shot, which made me wonder, am I using film as a crutch when I just don't have anything meaningful to shoot? This film just like a really expensive Instagram filter. So let's take a second look at that negative. Around Christmas, I made a video about my scanning setup, and I'm ashamed to say I haven't shot and scanned a whole roll with it yet. And even better, this guy Dimitri, who has a scanning kit he designed and sells, saw that video and sent me one of his medium format film scanning kits to test out. He sent me this kit, asked me to take a video of it, not a YouTube video, but just to send him some footage of me using it. I'm not getting paid for this, and if you're interested in the kit, there is a non-affiliate link in the description. The cool thing about this is that this is the first time I've scanned color film at home. I shoot a lot of black and white because it's simpler to develop and simple to scan and invert. I quickly realized that getting the colors right was going to be a bit of a chore, so I downloaded Negative Lab Pro. It has two downsides. One, it doesn't work on Apple Silicon Macs natively, which kind of sucks, and I don't like putting Rosetta on my system. The other downside is that it's only available as a Lightroom plugin, and I'm not a big fan of Lightroom. I do all of my raw image conversion in Capture One. I find it handles color and skin tones in particular much better than Lightroom, but regardless, Negative Lab Pro did a great job converting the shot so I could export a TIFF and bring it right back into Capture One. Looking at the shots, I have to say I'm preferring the film shot with a proper scan. For my website, I had recropped the shot like a 6.7 camera would, and doing the same on the film shot lines them up pretty nicely. Zooming in, I can tell there's motion blur on the digital shot, which doesn't make sense because it's such a bright day. If I look at the metadata, I can see that the shot is at f9 and 1/30th of a second in aperture priority mode. I'll give myself the benefit of the doubt that I was just quickly framing up and not a complete idiot. I was a complete idiot. I was learning, okay? Geez, cut me some slack. God, you guys are so mean. I was just a kid. I could get rid of the motion blur if I was less lazy, but matching the grain on these seems to get rid of most of it. Another thing that makes me lean towards the film shot is that the sun is out. Obviously, the sun had gone behind a cloud for the digital shot and come out for the film. Looking back at the film now, it does have that sort of Kramer, Kenny Rogers Roasters vibe to it, which I think does add a little bit to the humor of it. The guy looks hotter, he looks roastier, like a window duck, if that makes sense. I think maybe this is funnier. It also gives a nice contrast to the greenery. I remember struggling with how flat and muddy the greenery looks, so I separated it in Photoshop to try to add some contrast within just the greenery. I was also obsessed a little bit with this desaturated, cool, no yellows in the greens sort of vibe, like very blue foliage, which I feel like I've kind of outgrown. So in the end, is the film shot actually better? Looking back at them, I kind of feel like I prefer the film shot a little bit more. But the key thing is if I never took the film shot, the digital shot would still be in my portfolio. It would still be on my website, and no one would be the wiser. The film does not make or break the shot. What makes or breaks the shot is your eye, your vision, how you hold a camera, how you include things or exclude things from your frame to add humor or to add drama, chaos, your vision. Not that you're using Portrait 800 or some $40 roll of film. All of these things and ideas are much bigger than the medium or the brand of the camera you're shooting on. So why do I still shoot film, and why do I still defend film? Because to me, a fully manual film SLR with black and white film is still one of the best photography educations you can get. It has a pretty low barrier to entry. You can develop the film at home yourself. It's just an incredible exercise. There's no LCD to make you self-conscious or distract you while you're shooting. There's no virtually endless memory cards that let you just spray and pray and pick off a few good shots, but never really understand why they were good shots. Film makes you an incredibly conscious and present photographer, and that's what I love. It's a process that teaches you to make a photograph instead of take one, to repeat the cliche. In a world where we're experiencing events through a smartphone, never really present, and then those photos end up uploaded to a cloud that we're paying rent for to a corporation, and we'll never ever look back on those images. Film keeps you in the moment. The light that is on people's faces is what comes through the lens and hits your eye as you're taking a shot. That's pretty special, but that doesn't make digital not special. If you can take these ideas of a practice of focusing on what you want to say, how you want to build a body of work, a portfolio, once you've built that creative practice, you can go out, and if you see a great composition and all you had was your smartphone, your voice would still come through. It's super depressing for me to think about people letting a brand or a medium define their creative journey. I feel like it's disrespectful to your creative core. It sort of disenfranchises it and gives all of the credit for your creative journey to an external force. See, the people who actually matter aren't the ones asking, what camera did you take this on, or asking technical details. They're the people who will respond to the idea and the vision and the creative mind behind your shots. The people that matter care about ideas. That ability to change how people think is the most exciting thing about the creative process.
On the camera, present underneath. Or like two-handed, can you do a sweep?
We can do a sweep.